everyone, I am Brian with Playing for Second, and today I'm going to finish up my playthrough of the Harvesting Trilogy by Mark Tuck. So these are the 13 card solo games, starting with Orchard, and then Grove, and today, Forage. So go ahead and join me on the table. I'm going to do a quick run through of how to play Forage, and then probably lose, because I'm not very good at this one. Alright, so like I said, I'm not very good at this one. This is the newest of the trilogy. And it works the same way as the previous ones. You have cards. Each one has 6 different squares on it, effectively. You're going to be taking one of these 2 cards that are in your hand and placing it into your tableau, attempting to match up the symbols. In this one, we have chestnuts, mushrooms, and blackberries. There are 2 ways to play it. You can play it just by trying to get high score on the cards that are in your tableau. Or you can do like what Grove has and do the recipe challenge, which is what I'm going to be doing today. So if you do the normal version, there is a chart in the back of the book that tells you how well you did. And if you do the recipe challenge, you actually add these 2 numbers together, and that tells you your goal score that you need to either meet or exceed. So today I'm playing with chestnut flower and scrumptious. Those are the random ones I dealt myself. So I'm going to need 41 points to be considered a win today. Now, how you play this one, again, very similar to the last one. You're going to cover up at least 1 square with one of these cards up here. They can be rotated 90, 180 degrees, however you want to do it. And then when you place the card covering up something, for instance, like that, I covered up a chestnut with a chestnut, I would grab a die and I would put a 1 on there. If I cover that up again with another chestnut, it goes to a 3. Again, it goes to a 6, then a 10, and then finally a basket, which is worth 15. Now, if I were to cover up that chestnut with something else, and this goes for every square in the board, whatever you just covered up, or whatever you're using to cover up, so for instance, this mushroom just covered up a chestnut, I would take a mushroom die, the purple or brown ones, purple ones, and I would put on there a little -2 mouse. That is worth -2 points at the end of the game, and it gets rid of that die out of your pool of 15, 5 of each color, that you can use. At the end of the game, you're going to just add up those dice. You're going to subtract any mice. They're worth -2. There is the Edward mouse. It's worth -5. This one you can use if you don't have another choice. You can use this one, or you have to use this one. Or you can use it instead of a 2 if you want that die, instead of losing that die, if you wanted to ensure that you still had that available. You only do that once, because once this guy is on there, he is -5 at the end of the game, and you can't do anything with him. Any mouse that is on the board, you cannot cover up with anything else. It is basically a dead space. If I had a 1 on here, let's see, for instance, and I went, oh, that's a bad example here. If I had a 1, or any die, doesn't matter what it is, on this blackberry here, and I went to cover it up with this space that is split, the die will come through. It does not increase, but because this matches, one of these 2 matches the blackberry space, the die will come through like that. Now, in Grove, if you had a die in a Grove at the end, it wasn't actually on one of the 3 things that were in the game, that would fall off and you wouldn't score for it. In this one, you score all your die, but then any die like that is worth -1. So effectively, this would be 0 right there. And like I mentioned, the normal mice on the dice are -2, and the Edward mouse is -5. You're attempting to get high score. When you're playing the recipe challenge, as I am, I mentioned that you just add up the 2 numbers on the cards to get your total. They also all provide a bonus, and these are just the back of all these cards. So there are 18 cards in the box. You play with 9 of them on the board, and then of the 9 you have left, you just shuffle them up and randomly draw 2. So Chestnut Flower wants me to use all 5 chestnut dice. Those are the orangish, yellowish ones here. And Scrumptious, at least 1 basket is in play. So the baskets are worth 15 by themselves, so if I can do that, I'd be in pretty good shape. But also, that would get me 2 bonus points if I get a basket, and 5 bonus points if I use all of the chestnut dice. So, as I mentioned, I'm very bad at this one. I'm not great at any of them, and I'm not claiming to be. So if I make some tactical decisions, just please be kind in the comments. But let's get going here. Let's see what we can do. All right. Well, the first thing I see is I got a nice pattern here, and that gets me 2 of my 5 chestnuts. So I think that's how we're going to start here. I'm going to put this one and cover it like so. So this is a mushroom slash blackberry spot. I'm going to put a mushroom on top of it that will not get any kind of dye on there, but it's a legal move, so I also don't get a mouse on there. However, I will get 2 chestnuts and a blackberry, and each one will be set to 1. Okay. And then once you play a card, you refill it. Like so. Okay. Man, I got doubles there. And all right, looking ahead, this one here has a chestnut, a mushroom, and a chestnut. I have a chestnut, a mushroom. So if I can get another chestnut up here, that one would go in there nicely. So let's maybe try to work towards that. I do also have these 2 like that. So I could, again, this would be a legal play because that is the chestnut, and then there's a chestnut on the card. It just would not get me a die. It also would be a legal play here because that's a chestnut. That is a chestnut color. This would just pop up here and would not increase. So effectively, this would just get me the 2 dice there. So not terrible, but I don't think it's great. A lot of times I play this one, I don't know what I'm focusing on. Obviously, it's not the right thing because I'm not doing well. But I want to get these ones and not just abandon them. You know, you want to get stuff on top of those so that you can increase the amounts. Okay, well, that doesn't work. I mean, that's a legal play. As is this. We're gonna try this and just kind of extend long ways for now. So I will get a 1 and a 1 here. Yikes. Oh boy. Well, 2 chestnuts, 2 chestnuts. I'm not doing anything to increase these values, which seems not great. But I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna at least shoot for the chestnut flower and get those 5 bonus points. So this will get me 1 and 1, and I really got to start working on getting more dice on here now to try to get the 1 basket. Okay, we have, oops, that, no, okay, this isn't bad. Yeah, so these will all become 3s, and this mushroom is perfectly fine there. There we go. Let's see. Oops. Making a mess. Oh boy. I'm going to try this like so, which will get me just 1 mushroom, but it will let me play this one on top of here. So this will become a 3. This will become a 6, and I will get a 1 up here, which is my last chestnut die. So I will get those 5 bonus points. I'm just going to kind of turn it sideways so I know that I already did that. 2 cards left. To get the basket, I have to hit that 6 2 more times with cards on top of it, which does not look like it is going to happen. It's okay. It's only 2 bonus points. Would have been nice to get a basket anyway. But let's see what else we can do here now. All right, double green, which could come down here. That would get me a mouse. But that would go to a 6. That would go to a 3. That would go to a 1. That's potentially worth it, I think. Effectively minus 2 points to get 6 points. So net of 4. Let's see if there's any other options here. Nope. Yeah, I think we're going to do that, and we're going to hope that that doesn't end up being a terrible decision. So this will become a 6, this will become a 3, I will get a 1 here, and I will get a mouse here. Since I am covering it up with a mushroom, it'll be one of the mushroom dice that we use to add on the mouse. All right, 1 card left. This is not happening. Don't need to worry about that. I've got 2 blackberry dice left and 2 mushroom dice left, but ideally we can increase one of these other ones. That would get me another. That would give me another mouse, because this blackberry does not match up with that mushroom. However, this would go to 10, this would go to 6. So that would be 7, that'd be an 8th, and I would lose 2, so that's a net of 6 points, which feels pretty good. We'll just kind of do some quick glances here to see if there's anything else. And again, I'm sure I'm missing something, but that certainly feels like, in fact, I'm not going to overthink it. Yeah, so this will become a 6. This will become a 10. I will get a 1 there. This is fine because it is that. These are fine because they're both have that, and they're just the half ones. This is not, though, and since I am covering it with a blackberry, it'll get a -2 mouse in the blackberry. Like that. Okay. All the cards are played, so now we math. So we got 1, 2, and 6 is 8, and 10 is 18, 24, 27, 28, 31, 32, 33, 34, minus 4 for my 2 mice is 30, plus 5 is 35, and my goal was 41. So, unfortunately, as I mentioned, I'm not fantastic at this game. The other ones I won when I released the videos. Some of them were kind of a little bit of dumb luck. This one I've yet to get that dumb luck. It just always seems to kind of kick me while I'm down. But still a fun time. I really like the recipe challenge. It kind of mixes it up. You do not have to do these to win the game. So had I gotten 41 or more points, I would have won, even though I did not do this. But yeah, that's the Harvesting Trilogy series by Mark Tuck. I would say Grove is probably my favorite. Orchard is probably the easiest level. It was the first one. And then this one, for whatever reason, is just, at least for me, pretty difficult. But I like all 3 of them. I believe they're now being sold in a trilogy box set where you can actually get all 3 of them in, I'm not sure what the price is, but a pretty good price for them. And they're pretty nice. So very meaty, pack a punch for a very small box game. So, all right, that's been Forage. Hopefully you had a good time. I know I did. Thanks for joining me.